something.
I don't know. I got a bad. Yeah. I don't know. I still got a bad feeling towards him. You know, it's like I haven't seen the last Bad Boys, and actually didn't see the one before that. It's weird, but you think I would by now.
I like him.
Yeah, I think he's still entertaining, but yeah, I don't know. The more you learn about their personal life,
that's why it's always
tough.
important. You have to separate.
Yeah.
The art from the artist sometimes.
Right.
I mean, did you guys on the last episode, did you guys talk about like Neil Gaiman and the stuff about him?
No, not
That's
really
another
much.
example of like,
that's tough, but yeah.
it is a tough conversation to have for sure. It's another though example of like, does knowing this about him detract from what he's contributed to the comic book community or just writing in general with, books like American Gods and Stardust, I think was something that he'd written.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, does that detract from it? And the same, Kevin Spacey. People think the guy's a creep.
Yeah.
I believe he was not convicted of anything, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, but yeah, still. Yeah.
Ergo.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. Well, I remember Siskel and Ebert, of all people, had this debate back when Hugh Grant got caught with that transvestite hooker or whatever it was.
Yeah, which I think now that would just be a normal day in Hollywood.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, you get like on the page of, in a good way,
like,
front page
bless
of the
him
magazine.
for being so inclusive.
Yeah, but yes, I
remember them having an argument about separating.
I think it's always important to separate that out, and this is also why they say you shouldn't meet your heroes.
Yeah.
How many times have you met somebody, and I mean, especially if it's like a famous person, and you're like super stoked to meet them, and then you're just like, oh man, that was a fucking drag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. It's a bummer. They've
speaking of Neil Gaiman, like I will recommend if anybody watches the Doomcast. Yeah, nothing. He had a really good episode on it.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
He said a lot of that same thing. Was like, I don't like what he did, but I can still not like him and still like how his work made me feel.
Yeah, right. I don't like Tom Cruise, but I will watch Tom Cruise movies.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't like.
Yeah, same.
If I had a chance to meet Tom Cruise, I absolutely wouldn't, but I'd still go and watch Top Gun Maverick.
I don't want to be trapped in a room with Kevin Spacey, but I will still watch Kevin Spacey movies.
Yeah, a few more I think, sours you might be.
A few more of these. He might not want to be trapped with me.
I dropped the soap.
You're not locked in here. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here.
Get over here, Kevin.
Okay, so anybody who's come out with all this controversy, everything before you knew of it, like his work, like that's probably more forgivable. Like I can watch this, I can separate it. If they come back and make more, future projects, how would you be able to move on as easily?
I think it's hard. It's hard for me to say because there's really very few examples of that even happening.
Yeah,
because and Will Smith is one of the few examples where granted, what he did is not on the same level, obviously, as what some of these other pedophiles do.
Right.
But and that might be why you're seeing him make a comeback, because you haven't seen Kevin Spacey make a comeback. You have not seen, in the comic book community, you've not seen Warren Ellis make a comeback, and there was shit thrown at him. You have not seen. I don't know that you'll see Gaiman make a comeback. I don't know that he's.
Sandman's been canceled after season 2 on Netflix. I know that.
Yeah, but
which is shocking because you could move maybe because they don't want royalties going to them. Maybe for continuing.
Yeah, so I don't know. And then there was I've seen other instances where accusations have been thrown out, or things have been said and people have been ganged up on. And there was a comic book artist last year who committed suicide because of things like that. And so I just think it's really, especially when you have like all of this access to like social media and public information, and it's such a very dangerous environment for those types of accusations to be thrown around. And I'm not saying that whether they are or are not without merit, it's still a very dangerous situation for all the parties involved, in my opinion.
But let's say they do have a comeback. Would you support it, you think? Or you think it would be hard to, knowing what you know?
I think it depends on the situation. Right. If you've got somebody who, let's say that there's all this proof and evidence and witnesses and just everything, and they're so adamantly in denial about it. Like, that's different than if it's somebody who's like, oh no, if they take responsibility for it and they're like, I fucked up.
Yeah.
This is that. I think that's a little bit of a different
It's genuine and
situation. And if they, maybe work to make amends, look at the guy that was cast as playing Kang and then cut. And then he's got another movie that I believe was filmed before all of this that's now going to be coming out.
Oh, yeah.
That's Jonathan Majors.
Yes, that's settled. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think even that's a little bit of a different situation where he was convicted of a third-degree misdemeanor.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah, he's been convicted. He's on probation, so he's doing his time, so to speak.
Yeah.
Let the man make a comeback.
Right. Well, just like
in a situation like that. I mean, there are limits, right?
Right. Yeah. It's all. Yeah.
It's not like I wouldn't
case
be like
by case.
I would be like, oh yeah, Ted Bundy. Right. Yeah, let the man make a comeback.
You got your Roman Polanski's who retreated overseas, makes films still. Woody Allen. That's kind of. I don't know what. Honestly, with that, I don't know what to believe. I feel like both parties are probably guilty of, falsehoods. I don't know.
He's just a skin crawly guy anyway.
Mel Gibson, he had a huge fall.
He had
and he's still trying to. I don't know if he's trying that hard to get back up there, but he's working.
He's still making movies, and people are still watching his movies. I still watch his movies.
I still think he's lost fans, but I'll still watch his stuff because he did come forward and say, he made all these plans to make things right, and I don't know if he did or not, but from most accounts, I've heard he's a real nice guy. So it's like I don't know.
Man, did you see his quote after, because he'd lost his house in those fires?
Yeah,
they sounded really strange. He was like, "Oh, all my stuff is gone. It was here, and now it's gone. And George Carlin was here, and something, and now that's gone." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? George Carlin's been dead for fucking 20. How many years has Carlin been dead?
Right now, too. I don't know what's going on. He might have too many stem cells happening, or injections. I don't know.
Hair plugs are cutting into his brain.
He's got a spray tan.
Moral of the story is, kids, don't meet your heroes. Right. Think for yourselves.
On that scale, obviously, Will Smith. That's not bad.
Forgive, but you don't have to forget.
Right.